You know that feeling, right? You're having this amazing, brilliant chat with an AI, and then you close the window and poof, it's gone forever. Well, today we're going to talk about a brand new system that's designed to fix that exact problem. This is all about MemPalace, the AI that supposedly never ever forgets.
All right, let's just start with the number that got everyone talking, 96.6%. Now, on its own, okay, it's just a number. But in the AI world, oh, this is a score that has totally shaken up what we thought was possible with digital memory.
What that number means is that MemPalace is, at least according to the benchmarks, the highest scoring AI memory system ever tested. And here's the real kicker. It is completely free, it's open source, and you run it on your own machine. No cloud, no subscription.
Okay, to really get why this is such a big deal, we've got to start with a problem that literally everyone who uses an AI assistant has felt. I'm talking about the vanishing conversation.
This quote from the people who made it, man, it just hits the nail on the head. Think about it. All that context, all those little decisions you made, it just evaporates. It's like every single time you open a new chat, you're starting over with a brilliant coworker who has complete amnesia. And if you want to put a number on just how much we're losing, check this out. 6 months of using an AI every day can add up to something like 19.5 million tokens of data. I mean, that's your entire project history, your whole thought process, just gone. So how do you fix a problem like that? Well, most systems, they try to get an AI to summarize everything for you, right? To kind of guess what's important. But you know how that goes. It often loses the why behind a decision, that crucial context. MemPalace comes at this with a totally different idea. Forget summarizing. Store everything exactly as you said it, and then just make it super easy to find. So how does it actually do this? Well, the whole idea is really elegant, and it's actually inspired by this ancient technique called the memory palace. You know, like how old Greek orators would imagine a building and place ideas in different rooms so they could remember their speeches perfectly? MemPalace basically does that, but for your digital conversations. The whole structure is set up like a real building, a clear hierarchy. You've got wings at the top level. Then inside those, you have rooms. These are connected by halls and tunnels. And then you get down to the closets, and most importantly, the drawers. So, okay, let's walk through what each of these things actually is. All right, so wings. Just think of these as the main sections of your palace. So you might have a wing for, say, Project X, and another one for a person like your colleague Sarah, and maybe another for all your personal research. It's just that big top-level sorting. Okay, so inside each of those wings, you have rooms. And these are for specific subjects. So inside your Project X wing, you might have a room for authentication, one for database design, another for billing. You get the idea. This whole structure gives the AI a map to follow, not just a messy folder of files. And this brings us to what is maybe the most important part of the whole system, the drawers. This is where the magic happens. This is where your original, untouched, altered conversations are stored. MemPalace does not summarize. It doesn't interpret anything. It saves your exact words. And that right there, that raw verbatim storage, that is the secret sauce to its crazy high recall score. So, okay, it's a really cool structure, right? But does it actually work? Well, let's get back to that big number we started with. And the benchmarks, they say yes. Overwhelmingly, yes. Okay, check this out. On the standard benchmark, which is called LongMemEval, MemPalace, in its raw mode, scores that 96.6%. And as you can see right here, that blows past some of the leading competitors, both commercial and open source. But look closer. See that column for API required? All the others need to call out to a service like GPT. MemPalace? Nope. It gets that top score all by itself, completely local. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The cost. If you were relying on a big language model to summarize all your memory, you could be looking at over $500 a year. With MemPalace, where it just searches when you need it, you're talking maybe $10. And the raw storage mode, the one that gets you that record-breaking score, that's $0. It costs you nothing. But wait, the story doesn't end there. In fact, it gets even more interesting. So after the system launched, to all this excitement, the open source community did what it does best. It started poking holes in some of the claims. And what happened next? Well, it was a total masterclass in how to be transparent.
The creators, Ben Sigman and his collaborator Milla Jovovich, yep, that Milla Jovovich, they posted this public note with this just incredible statement. And instead of getting all defensive, they totally owned it. They embraced the feedback and laid out exactly what they needed to clarify. And this note was so direct. They were like, okay, we admit it, some of our examples were a little misleading, and we might have overstated a couple of features. But then they doubled down on what was absolutely true. That 96.6% score, that is real, it's reproducible, and it's still local, private, and free.
So here's the key takeaway from all that. The big 96.6% score, the one everyone's talking about, that comes from the raw, verbatim mode. Now, the team is also playing around with this experimental compression layer they call AAAK. It does shrink the data down, which is cool, but there's a trade-off. It actually makes the recall worse. It scores lower in the benchmarks. So the default setting, the raw storage, that's the real champion here.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing, but you're probably wondering, how hard is this to actually use? And the good news is, it's not complicated at all. It's really designed to just slot right into how you already work. Basically, there are two main ways this works. If you're using one of the big AIs like Claude or ChatGPT, it can automatically use tools to search your MemPalace right in the background. You just ask a normal question and boom, the AI goes and finds the answer for you. And if you're running your own models locally, like Llama, you can use a simple command to wake it up with critical facts, or you can just query it yourself. Either way, it's super powerful. All right, let's just zoom out for a second. An AI that has a perfect, persistent, and totally private memory, that's way more than just a neat feature. Imagine you're a developer. It's an AI that remembers every single function you've ever written. Or if you're a writer, it's one that remembers every tiny detail of the world you're building. This fundamentally changes our entire relationship with these tools. Yeah, we're basically moving away from these one-off, disconnected chats and into a real, continuous partnership. Your AI stops being just a tool and becomes more like an extension of your own mind. It's your project's co-pilot, your creative sidekick that actually grows and learns right there with you. And that really leaves us with one final big question. If your AI, your creative partner, your coding assistant could remember everything, every single idea, every decision, even every mistake you've ever explored together, just imagine what that unlocks. What would you build?